One of the most common phrases you will hear in the Philippines is the following: "Sorry, sir, not available." Now, that is often heard in any restaurant in any town or city in the Philippines at any given time. It's understandable if a restaurant runs out of a menu item occasionally, but when you go out to relax and not cook at home, you want to enjoy your time. And the problem isn't just the fact that the menu item is not available. The fact that it happens so often and the lack of just consideration from the staff to even let you know ahead of time what is not available can get really annoying. Many people have shared their experiences regarding this situation. Shakey's is a popular pizza chain in the Philippines. X Mastery says, "Shakey's have no pizza available. Good grief." Others have chimed in by sharing their stories. DJs 1980, "My local KFC in Manila ran out of chicken for a few days. Stayed open, just selling fries and drinks. LOL." Decker says, "LOL, no pizza at a pizza joint. I went to McDonald's once and no burgers." Now, for people that have never been to the Philippines, they probably assume either this is an exaggeration or simply not a big enough problem. But for those of us that lived here more than 6 months or a year, can tell you that this is an actual problem. It's not the menu item not being available, as everything surrounding it. It highlights everything: inefficiency, lack of respect for the customer, people simply being lazy and not communicating well, and of course, just another annoyance in your entire day. Sometimes you drive maybe a few minutes, 20, 30 minutes to get to the mall or somewhere to just have something you've been craving, but guess what? You cannot have that comfort. It's not there for you. Of course, on the grand scheme of things, this is not a big issue. There are other options. You can eat different things. However, in the Philippines, it's just the daily annoyances and headaches that make your entire day something that should be mentioned often, but people tend to forget that it's not just sunshines, rainbows, and butterflies. Other people have said similar things. I have yet to experience out of stock in the US restaurant, ever. Even when I stayed in Houston and went to all the various all you can eat Korean barbecues with like 100+ items on the menu. They just had everything all the time. Yes, because they care. There's someone in charge. There's consequences. There's a reason why things operate they do, because people are held accountable. In the Pinoy land, nobody cares because nothing ever happens. SGTM7. On more than one occasion, Burger King has been out of Whoppers. I asked if they realized they were supposed to be the home of the Whopper. Yes, Whoppers, burgers, things that should be a staple on any menu, are often out of stock in the Pinoy land. Marcus says, "The other night, I was coming back to my condo here at Ayala, Cebu Center, and the security guard clearly wanted a coffee. I thought I'd surprise him with some coffee, so I visited a nearby Spence Cafe. Immediately, when I walked into the door, the guy behind the counter is telling me there's no food available. It's fine with me. I'm just here for one coffee," I told him. He said, "Okay, sir, what coffee do you want?" I picked one off the menu, and he said, "Sorry, sir, we can't make coffee right now." The time was around 9 p.m., and they closed at 11 p.m. Sorry, Kuya security guard. I tried. He never needs to know the disappointment event that unfolded that night, but I can tell the story here. That is something also that's very common. They ask you to choose something and tell you right after it's not available. Why don't you just tell me that your coffee machine is not working? One time I recall standing at the cashier for at least 2 full minutes, like actual minutes, before anyone even acknowledged me, even though they knew I was there. I don't understand. That's your job. The entire purpose of you being there is to acknowledge me and take my order. Will Staffa says, "I went to reserve a tennis court. Receptionist. Sir, what time?" Me. 2 p.m. Receptionist. "Sorry, sir. That time already booked." Me. "Okay then, what time is available?" Receptioner. "Sorry, sir. All times fully booked." Me. "Okay." She could have saved us both time by leading with this piece of crucial information. They have the brain power of a child. Try Shakey's Pizza once for the first time, says Trulak a few days ago. It was empty, only a few customers aside, and it still took them 40 plus minutes to make 2 regular 9-inch pies. Tasted like crap. The $1 pizza slice in New York was way better. Are you seriously considering and comparing New York pizzas to Shakey's in the Pinoy land? It's very difficult to find good pizza in the Philippines, and if you do find it, it's either way far from your home, expensive, or just inconvenient one way or another. There are a couple of places I've found that was very good actually, so I will not lie. But generally speaking, the pizza is very bad. Usually it's not real cheese, it's a sweet sauce, and the bread is or the crust and the dough is completely off for some reason, perhaps too much sugar inside of it. And then when it gets served with some kind of mayonnaise or other white sauce, dripped and spread all across the top, as if I want to taste mayonnaise on my pizza, but or some kind of ridiculous cheese whiz that's, of course, one chemical away from being plastic. The zesty clothes, just like SM. Their jingle, SM, we got it all for you. Meanwhile, me, do you have this item? Salesperson, no sir, we don't, sorry. They don't have it all for you. That's just a slogan. They don't have many of the items because they just don't want to restock and they hope to sell whatever else is remaining. They're lazy, they are incompetent, they blame it on the supply chain, and they have a culture of shifting blame as always someone else's fault or a reason out of their control. So they say, but in reality, it's all in their control. They don't want to do anything about it because they're simply a lazy culture. All the smart Filipinos and Filipinas are abroad. They do not stay in the Philippines. Why do you think everyone wants to leave? It's not just you that's having a bad time. It's everyone. And everyone is trying to find a way to leave here while your simp ass is trying to get inside these women who have many others inside of them. The best comment from yesterday's video about the downside of large age gap relationships comes from Gecko. It's virtually always transactional and the culture short-sightedness, very strong risk of abandonment when staying becomes inconvenient. Another aspect many guys don't think of is depending on what country you are from, living in the paid pension by your payment may be reduced to nil because your partner is working age. That's how it works in Australia and the UK. Keep those things in mind when you decide to retire in the Philippines with someone much younger than yourself. It doesn't always simply work out. You experience out of stock. What happened that got you shaking your head? Share your stories. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for listening. God bless.